What's up, guys? Today we are working on a 2009 Honda Civic. We are replacing the rack and pinion and the high pressure hose. They're leaking pretty bad, so we'll show you step by step on how to replace those parts. So let's get to it. So safety first, you can see I've chocked the vehicle in the back right there, and then if we come to the front, it is already jacked up. You can see on the driver's side I got two jack stands, and on the passenger side I got one jack stand and supported by the jack. So safety first, and then once you secure the vehicle like this, and then it's good to go. So once you secure the vehicle, the next step to do is securing the steering wheel the way I have done it. You can see you have to make sure it is kind of straight, and then lock it with the bungee cords to the rail that adjusts the seat to move forward and backwards. So this is just to secure the steering wheel so that you don't damage the clock spring once you actually dismantle it from the rack and pinion, and then it just helps you bring the car back to where it was alignment wise. So once you do that, I'll show you the next step. This step is all about preference. If you want, you cannot disconnect your negative terminal of the battery, but if you want, you can disconnect. So in my case, I'm just going to disconnect this, not going to hit anything. Grab yourself a 10mm socket with the M12. Just wiggle the negative post and then put it on the side so it doesn't touch any metal. So next, we'll come under the steering wheel. We'll follow the steering wheel shaft. You will find the plastic cover, which is right here. You are going to find 10mm nuts. One should be there and one should be on the other side. In our case, this one doesn't have, so we are going to pop that out and then we go from there. Once you pop this plastic out, you will find there's a 10mm bolt right here connecting the steering wheel shaft to the rack and pinion. That's a 10mm bolt right there. So this boot should be protruding to the inside. This tells me someone has been here already. So we are going to take off that 10mm bolt, and then we should actually wedge off the steering wheel shaft from the rack and pinion. Once the bolt comes out, you can see there's a yellow bushing right there. That's for alignment is seg. And then let me grab a pry bar. We wedge it off the rack and pinion. Next, we're going to take off the two front wheels. We're going to use a 90mm socket with a rigid impact wrench, 5 lug nuts on the driver's side and 5 lug nuts on the passenger side. So with the wheels out, you can see how wet it is. This thing has been leaking pretty bad, and if you look at the high pressure hose right there, let me focus. See, it's been leaking right there. And then if you look right here, it's been leaking on the rubber boots for the rack and pinion, and that's why we are replacing it. It's the same on the other side, so pretty much this is why we are replacing it. What we're going to do next is we're going to loosen this locking nut between the inner and outer tie rod on the rack and pinion, and then we're going to take off this cutter pin, and then we'll take off this nut on the outer tie rod, and then we'll use a hammer just to separate the tie rod from the knuckle right there. So what we're going to do on the passenger side is going to be the same on the driver's side. So we'll loosen this locking nut for the inner and outer tie rod. We're going to use a 24mm open wrench, and then we use a 90mm socket to take this outer tie rod nut, and then we use a cutter pin pliers to take the cutter pin off, and then we use a hammer to separate the outer tie rod from the knuckle. So now we got all this disconnected on the driver's side. Let's go to the passenger side, because what you do on the passenger side is the same thing you do to the driver's side. So you can see all this is out. So now we are going to figure out what to do next. So the next thing to do is figure out which lines come from the power steering pump to the rack and pinion. So that's the next move before you disconnect the whole rack and pinion. So the other best way to do that is if you have the new part and you don't know what you're doing, you're not too sure, you can just look at the new rack and pinion. It will show you the lines that connect to the rack and pinion. So let's go look at the rack and pinion, and then we are going to identify which lines will connect to the rack and pinion. What's up, guys? So this is our new rack and pinion, courtesy of Detroit Axle. Customer asked for information. I gave him the information and they bought the part. So most of the time when the customer does that, they pretty much they want to go the cheaper route, and if this part is wrong, I'm gonna charge them no matter what for the time I've spent for, you know, taking the old one out, because they provided the part. But if I did provide the part, I'll take care of the customer. But pretty much customer asked for information. This is the new rack and pinion they bought from Detroit Axle. So this is just to show you how to find out what you're going to do next, or which line to disconnect. So the lines that you need to disconnect, they come from the right side of the vehicle. There's one here. I believe this should be the high pressure one, and this is the low pressure side. And the good part is they provide you with the two O-rings, so that's a good thing. So all you have to know is the two lines. They come from the passenger side, so you can see these are the two lines. So don't mistake which ones to take. So which ones to take out. So pretty much it should be these two. And the good part is, if you look close, they are of different size, so you can't put this line on this one or this line to the other one. It won't go in, so that's a good sign. So the other thing you have to know is, so looking at the rack and pinion, you got two bolts to take out. There's one here and one on this side. This should be on the driver's side, and then on the passenger side there should be a bracket with the rubber bushing with the bolts and nuts. So we'll go under the vehicle. We are going to actually put card boxes at the bottom, or rugs that will actually suck the oil, because this is a messy job, and most of the time I always tell customers to bring the vehicle to my place, because I don't want to mess their driveway, and this job is done in the driveway. That's a good part. So it's a DIY video, so it's gonna help you do your rack and pinion in your driveway step by step. What's up, guys? So right now I'm at the bottom, and the lines we are going to disconnect is this one right here. It's a big nut. I believe it's a 22, and then there is this clamp right here. We are going to use a flathead screwdriver to loosen it, pull out that hose, and then we're going to change that connector and take it off from the old rack and pinion and install it on the new one. So the way you're going to get this one, I used, actually it's broken loose, you can see it's spinning right now. I used a Crowfoot 22mm wrench with some I believe 3/4 double extension and a 3/4 ratchet. That's how I got it. So let me show you the setup. I'm not gonna show how I'm gonna take it off because of not having too much space in the driveway, but if you're on a lift it's gonna be pretty easy to show. But let me show you the setup. Let me show you the setup of how I got this one loose, and then at least you are going to have an idea of how you should take it out. So that's the setup right there. You can see my Crowfoot 22mm Crowfoot wrench right there, and it's dripping, and my double extension, and then the Titan ratchet right there. That's how I broke it loose. So that's just the heads up. And then for the top one, I'll show you how. For the top one, just go in with a flathead screwdriver and you get it just like so. All you have to do is turn it counterclockwise and you should be good to go. So that's how you get those. So let me take them off and then I'll bring you guys back. What's up, guys? So I disconnected the one hose right there, you saw it, and then like I said, this is a messy job, so make sure you are ready to catch most of the fluid. You can see I have a cat box, I had some these oil rugs and the tin foil tray right there, so it's catching the fluid. So I can pull that hose from right here. Let me see if I can focus. it's crazy to see, but definitely I can pull that hose from right here. I'm gonna pull it off and then we'll let it drain and then we'll go from there. What's up, guys? So on the passenger side, we have to take off that 40mm bolt. That's the one I mentioned. It's a bracket, a 40mm bolt in the front. I believe the bracket has got a rubber bushing inside, and then when we come to the back side, that's another one right there. So let me show you how I broke them loose, and then we'll speed up the process by using a ratchet. So I used a 40mm socket with the ratchet, and for the front one, this is how I got in, just like so. I broke it loose, and then I moved to the back one and did the same thing right there. I don't know if you can see, but let me just set it up this way. I went in just like so. Like so, and then I broke it loose as well. So now we'll switch to our M12 to speed up the process. To the driver's side, it's going to be the same process, but we'll use a 70mm socket with a ratchet, and we'll go in just like so. I broke it loose like so, and then we'll speed up the process. We'll switch to the ratchet. Hope we can get a good angle right there. So on the inner one, it's gonna be tricky. Space is an issue right there, so I'm gonna take it off by hand, slowly. But for the back one, let me show you how it goes. For the front one, you can see I squeezing my long 70mm socket with my M12 right there. So all you have to do is squeeze the trigger just like so. And I should actually get it out. So I'm going to take it off by hand. I don't want to take it off all the way, otherwise the two might get stuck in there. What's up, guys? So I forgot to mention, so the rack and pinion is held once you take this actually 40mm bolt this side, I mean a 17 this side, on the other side there's a 40mm bolt, so you have to break that one loose just like so, because the rack and pinion slides in there and it is locked in there. So it's a 40mm bolt right here. You can see I'm taking off like so. So we'll speed up the process. I just wanted to point out, it's been a long time since I did one of these, so we'll take off that, and then there should be a 10mm bolt right here as well that holds the high pressure hose, because we're replacing that. And then this one I bend it, because either way it's coming out. So if you don't bend it or you don't take this 10mm bolt right here, it's gonna block you from getting this bolt right there. So let me take it off with a ratchet, and then we go from there. What's up, guys? So for these hoses to be free, you can see I disconnected the 10mm for this hose to be free. There's a 10mm bolt that I took out. It comes here to the frame, and then for this one there was a 10mm bolt right here as well, so that takes tension off the bolts for you to have flexibility to install or disconnect the line. So there was a bracket right here. It's been a long time since I did one of these. So there's a bracket that actually holds the rack and pinion. On this side, that's the 17 that we used, that we took out from the other side, and then on this side that was a 14. So I just wanted to point out that. So right now I think this rack and pinion should be good to go, but it won't come out. So what we're going to do, I think we have to actually drop the subframe just a little bit or loosen right there. I believe that's the 17 or 19, and right there. And then we'll see what else we need to loosen to lower it down so that we can create room for the rack and pinion to slide out. What's up, guys? So I did forget to mention, so once you take the 40mm bolt from the front, it's a bracket. Like I said, it's been a long time since I did one of these, and like I said, it's a step by step. So on this other side of it, where my finger goes through right there, there's a 14 just like the other side. So we'll put a 40mm socket right there, we'll break it loose with a ratchet, and then we'll go from there. So it is right there where my finger is flicking. So let me put the socket right there with the ratchet, we break it loose. So that's the 14mm socket right there. You see it right there where my finger is. See if you can get a better shot right there. And then we got the ratchet right there, so I'm going to ratchet it just like so. Set it up. And then once we break it loose like the way it is right now, I'll go ahead, squeeze my hand in there, and then I'll try to put my M12 right there. So this is the best position. I can sneak my hand in there, and the bolt is, you see where my hand is? It's just right behind right there. So you take the bolt out, and the bracket comes off just like so. And this is the one. So that's our setup right there. 17 this side and 14 this side. And this is for the back as well, 17 at the front and 14 at the back. So you can see right now our rack and pinion is moving, but it can't come out. You see, still have fluid draining. Goodness, I got the rugs and then the box and the tray, so this won't slide out here. So you can see right now. So we have to lower the subframe. We'll take off this bolt right here, and I think we'll take off these two. I believe they are our 17s, and then on the other side as well, we'll just lower it down a little bit to be able to slide the rack and pinion off. So we'll take out this 70mm bolt right here, and then also this one right here, and also to the other side. So this is the driver's side. We're gonna be doing the same on the passenger side. Since we are lowering the subframe, so you can see I've secured my jack stands so that the subframe will get set on this on the jack stands, one on the passenger side, and you can see the other one on the driver's side. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to loosen or take off that motor mount, and we'll see how much we can lower the subframe. If it doesn't lower too much, we are going to also take that bolt out just a little bit. That's on the passenger side, and then we'll also do the one on the driver's side. What's up, guys? So the subframe did not come down more, so what we're going to do is we are going to set it up just like so. You can see my jack with a piece of wood. We are going to lower or take off that bolt right there on the driver's side, and you can see I've adjusted my jack stand right there. So we'll see if it will come down a little bit. If it doesn't, then we have to also loosen the other side. So let me do that, and then we'll go from there. What's up, guys? So with the subframe lowered enough, our rack and pinion will come off from the driver's side. You can see it's almost coming out. You can see we took out all the bolts completely. For the subframe in the front, secured by a jack stand and supported by 4 jack stands, 2 in the front, heavy duty ones, and 2 in the back. So I think I'm gonna need to take this bracket off, 17, and then we'll have access for this rack and pinion to come off to the driver's side. So finally we got our rack and pinion out. We made a bit of a mess right there. We'll put our rags right there to suck off that oil, and we're going to clean it up afterwards. And this is our rack and pinion. You see it's been leaking on the seals right here and right there, and then the high pressure house. So you can see it's all covered in oil. It's been leaking. So we're going to switch off this adapter from the old rack and pinion, and then we'll switch it on to the new rack and pinion, and then we're going to actually set up our new rack and pinion, which is right there, and then we should go from there. So we need to center that one so that when it goes back in there, it's going to be pretty much close to the right alignment. And then we're going to count the threads on the outer tie rods for the driver's side and then also the passenger side. And then we got new tie rods that came with the rack and pinion. So let me actually change this adapter from right here to the new one, and then the tie rods, and then we should be good. What's up, guys? So you can see I switched the adapter, which is right here. It came off from the old one, and pretty much that's what I've done. I've also taken off the outer tie rods. You can see on the passenger side we counted, I don't know if the camera will pick this, but passenger side we counted 12 10s on the outer tie rod, and then on the passenger side, on the driver's side, sorry, we counted 9 right there. So that's how the setup's going to be. So right now I'm going to make a separate video on how to center the rack and pinion, and then it should be good to go in just like after centering. What's up, guys? So right now let's center this rack and pinion. So we'll count the 10s. I've used the rag and the vice grip. I don't want to damage the threads on the spindle right there. So we'll count the threads each side until we find the half mark. So we'll go this way. I just want to get to where we can start from. So this is our end side. So this is our starting point. So it's gonna be, that's 1, 10. That's number 2, 10. That's 2.5 and 2 3/4. So our half should be 1.375, I believe. So we're going to go 1 half right there, and then 1.35 right there. That's our center mark. So I'm going to go ahead and install this rack and pinion in the vehicle, and pretty much installing this rack and pinion is the reversal of how it came out. So I'm going to do it off camera, and then I'll bring you guys back once everything is set and good to go. What's up, guys? So our job is complete. I'm just gonna walk you through, because always when you finish the job you have to make sure you double check your work to make sure everything is good. So we're starting under the steering wheel. You can see right there our shaft is connected to the rack and pinion. On the spindle right there you can see our 10mm bolt, and then you can see our bushing to center our shaft right there. So right now we'll go ahead and put back this plastic cover, and you can see earlier on this rubber cushion was on the outside. This is the way it's supposed to be, so we've corrected that one. We'll go ahead and put this plastic cover back on. The bolts are missing, so I mean the nuts are missing, so we'll just center it just like so. and that should be good. And then when we come this side, I've put my tie rod. You can see on the driver's side we counted 9 10s. That's how we got it out. So you can see it's back on, and then our bolts for the subframe are back on, those two as well. In the front we are good right there. So let me crawl under the vehicle. I show you that our hoses are connected. You can see right there, both our hoses are connected. The 10mm bolts on these brackets, there's one here and there's one right there. You can see our subframe bolt is back on right here, and then our motor mount bolts are also back on right there. So let's scroll to the other side. Our sensor is back on right there. Let's scroll to the other side. We make sure everything is back on. We got that subframe bolt is back on. Those two right there, the one in the back right there. The outer tie rod is put back on. So on the passenger side we counted 12 10s. It's back on 12. So right now, let me verify the 2 bolts on the torque strut mount right there are back on. So pretty much everything is back on. Double checked all the work, everything looks good. So what's remaining on this car is just to bleed the power steering system. All you gotta do is pour some fluid right there, and then turn the steering wheel side to side or lock to lock when the vehicle is off, about maybe 5 times, and then run the vehicle, leave the cap off, and then turn the steering wheel the same way, and then it's gonna bleed out all the air, and then it should be good. Check for leaks as well, and pretty much you got the job done. So pretty much that's all it takes to do a rack and pinion and a high pressure hose on the 2009 Honda Civic. So you follow those steps, you do that job in your driveway, and pretty much that's all it takes, viewers. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much. Please continue watching, continue liking, continue sharing. It just helps with the YouTube algorithms, and then it also helps us make more videos so that we can help all those DIYers out there. So pretty much that's all it takes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you on the next one.